Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And I guess unless you're living under a rock, you know, weather is definitely playing a role in California with all the tragic fires going on. I mean, the weather is not helping the situation at all. On that note, Allan, today we're gonna talk about the science of weather and how Allan's rubbing his hands together. He even got a cup of coffee to really get activated this morning. So, and I'm really late to the party. What are we, a year and a half late? Actually, Max watched this movie too. We finally watched Barbie. And wanted to give you our hot takes.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to hear those.
With the weather here in Memphis, I don't think that you can give a hot take at the moment.
Yeah, okay. But and we've got other things. We're not going to tease. Like I said, the show will unfold as it unfolds. Yeah. But Brandon, you wanted to kick it off because speaking of late to the party, you wanted to talk about the Penguin.
Again, I don't want to talk about the Penguin so much as I want to talk about those folks behind the scenes.
Okay.
Of course, the Golden Globes was this past week, and our good. Our wonderful actor Colin Farrell, who plays Oz Cobb the Penguin in The Penguin, he won for Best Actor.
He did.
In a dramatic
kind
series.
of a no-brainer.
I mean, first of all, anyone who ever thought that Colin Farrell was just the pretty action boy has never seen things like In Bruges or the man can act.
Yeah,
and he's proven that with if you haven't seen the series, you've at least seen the Batman. He proves how well he can act. But they put up a picture of him next to a picture of the Penguin when they announced the his win, and you sit there and you look at it and it's like you've got to give it up for these makeup effects artists too, because you can't recognize him at all under there. Even the eye structure is different with the prosthetics they put on him. Mm-hmm. And we talk about, well, we've got these AI deep fakes where we can make a computer generated version of your face. Yeah. These guys do this from scratch. You get molds, you get makeup, you get latex, foam appliances and everything. And they can literally make you look like anybody. And if there's never been proof of it before, there's definitely proof with the Penguin.
Well, and there's one episode where they have a full body thing, when he's being tortured by
and that's the thing is he was talking about, it's like he talks about the time in the chair and how he never wants to do it again. But of course, now because of how prestigious it is, they're talking about him showing up in the Batman 2, and they're talking about a second season of the Penguin. Yeah, and it's like how much money? I'm wondering how much money you have to back up to his house to get him back into that chair.
Is it the same thing like the guy from Gimli from Lord of the Rings, where he's like, I don't want to ever do this again?
I mean, it's got to be brutal doing that. I don't even know what it's like.
All right, so
I feel like it would be.
Let me tell you what it's like.
Well, there's some people they say it can be claustrophobic.
I have had.
You can't go to the bathroom in some outfits.
Yeah, I'm a huge Halloween nut.
Yeah,
and I've had friends who wanted to practice their trade back when I was younger, and you might sit there for several hours while they do stuff, and it's like everything itches.
Yeah, what do you do?
It's like you want to move, but you're not allowed to. Because you have to let the glue set before you can even stretch your face.
Ugh. Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Don't even get me started about a full head mold. Joe, they put Vaseline in your eyebrows and they put straws up your nose and then they cover you in what is basically paper mache.
Yeah, now what is that? That would be horrifying.
That sucks.
That's like almost a torture.
It is. It really is. And I've done it once. I think I was 17 when I did that. That was 30 years ago. And to this day, there are certain things. It's like if my face is too enclosed in something, and this is, I love masks, but no, I can't do it.
Yeah,
it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be. But I guess what the marvel of the Penguin prosthetics was, okay. Well, it's one thing to put prosthetics on, but they also have to be. You have to show facial expressions. He looks like a real person. Yeah. Like even when he arches his eyebrow or lifts his chin or something. I mean, it looks real. It's pretty incredible.
It's extremely well done prosthetics, and I don't even think they used any kind of CGI to touch up edges, which you usually do in movies and all, just to make it look more realistic. But no, that stuff is just like flat out him. Well, the prosthetics on him. And it's crazy how good that is.
It's easy to gloss over that too, but if you look at what they were going for in the Penguin, this is gritty, street level, realistic. I mean, behavior. And if your left ear is looking weird and looks artificial, if any part of it looks fake, it's going to affect the entire production.
And again, praises to the makeup artist, praises to Colin Farrell for putting up with the process, and then still managing to give us a stellar performance all the way across the board. And let's just go ahead and give it up for Matt Reeves for making the Penguin reinventing the Penguin so that he's a more interesting character, while also making the Riddler one of the least interesting characters known to man.
Oh, now wait a minute here.
No.
Hold
I'm
on,
sorry.
sir.
It's balance.
I'm sorry. I love that movie. I love that movie hardcore.
I totally disagree.
But I will say this, as a fan of true crime and Criminal Minds and criminal behavioralism and stuff like that, the Riddler is so basic, but the Penguin himself is a genuine masterclass in psychology.
I don't understand you. I think you say things to make me get mad.
If I care, Joe, there's so many things I could say to really piss you off, but I won't do this. I don't.
That's
all right, look. Orphaned child put upon. I mean, it's textbook. He's the low end of the hiatus of a Criminal Minds season, and he's in every season.
I don't know.
It's just, but I mean, you don't. Most people who immerse themselves in Batman, media, they're used to the fantastical. So when you get someone who is a straightforward psychological terror like the Riddler was, you guys, you're going to be like, that was awesome. I love what they did with the Riddler. Meanwhile, I watch Criminal Minds to the point where I can recite them episodes line by line, and I'm just like going, yeah, okay. If I can diagnose him, it's a little easy.
Now, in fairness, I don't watch those shows, so maybe that's the thing. Maybe
I think that's what I mean. The difference between our viewing habits is why you can find that character fascinating, and I can find him boring. But we both agree that the Penguin is, again, one of the best characters created on TV.
Okay, so hats off. And when we come back, we're going to talk about really, I'm late to the party talking about Barbie.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Worse than beaming down into a Sarlacc pit. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, Brandon was singing the praises of the Penguin, Colin Farrell's performance, and equally as impressive, the makeup artist that produced him. Oh, go ahead, Allan.
Which, by the way, is Michael Marino, that you will remember from not only the Batman, Black Swan, and The Dead Don't Die.
Okay.
This guy has got some hardcore makeup cred.
If you haven't seen The Dead Don't Die, the movie's weird as all get out, but it is it's a good watch.
Okay. Hey, before we move on to that, I'm just going to throw this out there. I would like to discuss this in a future show, because I don't want to eat up our time. But I just want to say, I picked Raphael Grandpa's, what was that series? It's going to be a 4-part series. I can't even remember the name now. Gargoyles of Gotham.
Okay.
After like an 8-month or whatever it was delay, it finally came out. And you know what? I bought it, and I have a reaction to that let's discuss that in a future episode. Okay. But I'm just going to say, no wonder the comic book industry has so many detractors, and Raphael Grandpa, shame on you for not. I don't know. I'm sorry. It kind of ticked me off a little bit.
Well, I understand.
Okay, as a consumer and as somebody that wants the product, the way they did this is just a total failure on my opinion.
See, we're gonna we can totally discuss the overhyping of something to the point where we're super excited, then it gets delayed for a year, and then we get it, and it's so mediocre.
Right, or you just don't care anymore.
We could do a whole series on that.
But we'll do that. That'll be in a future show.
Isn't that some kind of giant football game that happens annually?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, but you guys, so Barbie, I think, did it come out on Netflix or what streaming platform? Anyway, it was free now, so Max and I both happened to watch Barbie. I got to admit, you guys, I'm happy to do it. When I first saw the trailers and when I saw what people were saying, I'm like, okay, I couldn't care less about this movie. Mothers were taking their daughters, they're dressing up in pink, and they're going to see Barbie. I'm like, okay, cool. They've got a movie for themselves.
Yeah.
I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did. I thought it was outstanding.
We did an entire, Barbie promotional event at the Cooper Young Festival for NCFC. And, I mean, I even dyed my hair pink for, a day, so...
Well, Max, you're a philosopher. You were even involved.
Yeah, exactly. There was this Barbie is essentially a modern version of Plato's allegory of the cave.
So what is that?
It's the philosopher's journey to enlightenment.
He's right.
He's 100% right.
Yeah.
So Barbie has an existential crisis, and I'll frame her existential crisis through the lens of Plato. Plato describes a group of people chained inside of a cave where the captors wave puppets and shadow figures that are projected by a fire. And, these are obviously not real images. It's like fake images of the world. But one of the prisoners eventually is let free, and he finally walks out of the cave into the light of the world and everything. And so it's the idea of how do you, once you've seen the light, so to say, take that wisdom of what you've seen back to the cave, i.e. Barbie Land.
Yeah. When you said that, it's funny because then didn't you go down a rabbit hole and like everybody else was seeing that?
Everybody else has seen Plato's allegory of the cave.
Well, I was like, how did this movie make $1 billion? Or what is it? I mean, over $1 billion. But it's really good. And it's fun. It was much funnier than I thought.
The music.
Yeah, I saw it. It was good.
Alissa, you're the target demographic here.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a wonderful movie. I enjoyed it. I will say I didn't really play with Barbies growing up. We just didn't have them. We had some, but it was not something that was bought for us. It was like hand-me-downs. So I didn't feel connected to it in that way. But like as a woman and a human, I thought it was beautiful.
Well, I'm wondering let's just be honest, Alissa. Yeah. You don't strike me as somebody that likes the Barbie motif of, let's just be honest. Is that your kind of... Are you going to teach your kids to play with Barbies or,
I won't be having kids, so...
Have you seen the state of the world?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
But, I can play with Barbies, like with my niece and stuff, and I think that's... girly things are fun and cute.
Okay. All right.
Well, a big thing to remember here is no matter how off topic the movie may be, your best movies are on classic themes.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Yeah. So this one looks like it could last for a while. Like, it could stay popular.
They're basic fundamental themes that don't change. They don't change from generation to generation. Of one of your least favorite movies, Blade Runner, is always about what is human.
Right.
It's not a lot of action, but the question is, what makes a human?
Yeah.
Barbie is, all right, you were told the world is one thing. Now you've seen it. Now what? It's a classic theme. It's basically the allegory of growing up. Your family and your village and your people told you what life is like on the great evil outdoors. And then you went out there and now you came back and you have a different point of view now.
Yeah.
Of, travel. Any travel movie is all about some form of exploration. So if you put your movie, no matter, even if it's like Barbie, no matter if you stick to a good classic theme, you get a good, solid production.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other factors. Trust me. There's a lot of other factors here, but congratulations. A great philosophical basis. And now you got a long-lasting movie that made more money than any movie should make.
Well, the other thing is you've talked about this before, Allan, is like every single person involved in this seems to be, they were
totally
on board.
Yeah.
They were
totally
invested.
bought in.
Even as goofy as the premise is when you're riding a bicycle through Barbie Land.
Yeah.
John Cena was a merman.
Right.
Yeah. I think that helps a lot when everyone is also invested in the vision and the...
Yeah, ask Borderlands about that.
When you understand the assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, when everybody read the same script
Yeah.
and all signed up for the same movie.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Dwayne Johnson.
Yes.
Well, it's nice to get new things because it's like, and I guess it's just a lesson to me that maybe to keep a more open mind. Because like I said, I'm like, okay, well, it's nice. It's not for me, but actually it turned out to be. So, all right, when we come back, something that's for everybody is weather. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the science of weather with Allan Gilbreth.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, Max and I are both really late to the party. We watched Barbie because it was free on Netflix, a movie I had no interest in and couldn't have cared less about. And now, man, it was a very pleasant surprise. And before we move on, I just want to say, Brandon, you told me something off the air that was very encouraging. You said there's not going to be a sequel.
There's not going to be a sequel.
We don't need one.
So you're
folks.
just saying I'm hearing that the first movie was Knuff.
Okay, whatever that means. I don't get it. Did I?
Wait,
did
you
Ken? Ken. Okay, well, you said Knuff.
They literally made jackets for that.
Now, but I will say you had an idea off the air. I'm not opposed to more. I don't know, Mattel or any toy companies making really thought-provoking toy movies, but like give us a one-off. Like, the Lego movie you said should have never had a sequel.
It shouldn't have had a sequel. As cute as it is and as much fun as it is, there's the underlying story of your little sister kind of getting into your world. We've all had the sibling rivalry, but there's a ton of movies that hit on it, and they don't really hammer home the whole idea that they did in the first one with the son and the father finally coming to terms with the fact that they're both, dad has to let go of his control a little bit and enjoy this hobby with his son.
Yeah.
And you would have never known that unless you actually sat down and watched the Lego movie.
I just realized, though, that those two movies followed a similar formula. Main guy, Will Ferrell, in terms of adults. Second thing, allegory of the cave is essentially at play here with both the Lego movie and that.
I hate giving Will Ferrell credit, but I guess there's something to that. Yeah,
He's funny.
but he's not what sold the Barbie movie for me, though. No. By the way, I tolerated him in the movie. So yeah.
But there's it's like give me a Hot Wheels movie and let it be about guys who go after. I mean, there are people in this world who literally go after this holy grail to rebuild a car that they may have had with their that their dad had, and then they build it with their son. These bonding movies. I love bonding movies, but I also people finding themselves in the midst of their quest has always been my favorite kind of movie too.
Yeah. So keep it. Give us good stuff. Toy companies, you'll sell more toys. And we can get some heavy, thought-provoking stories. But, all right, well, let's shift gears. Speaking of heavy and thought-provoking.
Science!
I hope this will be heavy and thought-provoking, Allan. We're talking about the weather.
Well, it is going to start with a tragedy.
Yeah, California is really... The fires, the wind has been the biggest enemy in these fires, right? And just the dryness of the...
Well, Joe, in a recent show together, we said a lot of words about being good to your future self. Or
planning
being
ahead.
bad to your future self.
Yeah.
You and I have, on another shows, talking about tools, have talked about building a fence around your backyard and putting the boards too close to the ground.
You can call it Tool Talk Radio. They're a sister station.
We can call it Tool. We can call it Tool Talk. But I figured I'd let you do that.
I'm going to let you guys know that you now owe Geek Tank Radio $750 for the Tool Talk reference.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
So.
But you plan ahead, and then in the future,
you put these boards too close to the ground, and suddenly your backyard's flooding, and it doesn't drain, and it doesn't this and all that. Well, congratulations, your past self hosed you over.
Yeah.
Welcome to a lot of building, moving, and doing things, because humans are not very good at going, there's a pattern here, like. Once a year, 1 million red crabs walk down to the ocean. So we're going to put a city between the forest and the ocean. Guess where the 1 million red crabs are going to go?
Yeah.
Right down the dead center of your city. Have you ever heard of a thing called the butterfly effect?
Yes, sir.
What is it? What's the butterfly effect? Class?
All right. Basically,
we got 7 minutes.
I know.
The theory is that if a butterfly flaps his wings in Taiwan, it can cause a tsunami.
There you go.
In California.
Right.
All right, congratulations. That is the weather.
Yep.
It's, hurricanes in the U.S. come from Africa.
Right.
Africa didn't try it. They didn't plan it. That's just where the
Yeah.
thunderstorm wandered off shores and went, hey, I can make it all the way to Florida. Let's talk about Santa Ana winds. So what is a Santa Ana wind? Everybody hears about it, but nobody really knows what it is. Well, it is a katabatic wind. What does that mean? That means it starts up high and goes low. So let's get a little high pressure up in the nice, dry mountains,
Okay.
and let's throw a low pressure system out in the Pacific Ocean. Guess which way the winds are going to go?
Yeah.
Downhill.
Downhill.
They're heading for the low.
You know who
And-
loves Santa Ana winds? The surfers, because usually the wind comes in off the ocean, but when it comes in from inland and pushes against the waves, they break really slow and smooth, and it's great surfing. So
And it pushes the water away from the shore, thus creating the waves your surfers like.
yeah.
The only problem is these are really dry and really tough, and they pick up a lot of speed.
Yeah.
And if something goes wrong in the human world, they don't care. They're going to go from uphill to downhill. And if you're in the way, it's not good for you.
I have a scientific question. Okay, well, you just said something. They go from uphill to downhill. Does gravity play a role in strengthening wind? I don't think of wind as being affected by gravity, but maybe it is.
If you're in Death Valley, it certainly does.
Okay, well, does
Because
this affect it here?
Well, the depth of the atmosphere has a lot to do with it, and you're moving from a thinner, colder air up on top. However, the basin in California right now is actually really hot. It's sunny, it's sunshiny. So yeah, gravity does have a very minor part to play because that's kind of what defines what is uphill and what is downhill.
I just feel like it'd be smoother going downhill.
It is.
Yeah.
It
And,
is.
and that's why the wind can easily pick up the embers and brush and spread it to places it shouldn't be going.
Well, and you can push things downhill. If you have a burning ember, pushing it downhill is a lot easier than pushing it up.
It does indeed. So, just to give you, a quick impression of what is a Santa Ana wind. Top of the mountains, nice and dry, lots of sunshine. It's coming downhill, and it's coming downhill fast.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be where it wants to go, not so good.
We're going to have more to talk about here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And off the air, Alissa, you were very animated. We're talking about a multitude of things today, but
Yeah.
I do feel like I'm intrigued. You said something about Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, they have a new movie out on
Vengeance Most
Netflix.
Foul.
Yeah, Vengeance Most Foul. The little penguin villain from the jewel heist one is back for vengeance. And
I
there's a
haven't-
creepy
Yeah.
gnome. Yeah,
It's
I'm
a great
so
name.
excited.
Yeah, but you like I've told you those claymation things have always freaked me out, especially like Tim Burton things. But you're a fan. You like
Yes, I've loved
Chicken
Wallace and
Run.
Gromit and Chicken Run since I was like very small. Like they were my favorite. I would watch Chicken Run over and over and over again. I loved it.
I knew I liked you for some reason.
It was
What
my
is it
favorite.
about? Do you like the little? Do you think that stuff's cute? It doesn't freak.
No, it doesn't scare me. I think it's cute. I like it when you can see the little thumbprints in the clay when they're moving scenes. I just think it's so fun.
Okay, but
And you can soften the blow of the story you're telling.
Yeah.
Because
it's
let's face
silly.
it, Chicken Run is dark.
Scary.
I seem to remember being
They-
depressed
They
after I watched
beheaded
that.
chicken in like the first 5 seconds of that
I
movie.
mean, Chicken Run is dark. I mean, you could not do that live action.
No.
Yeah,
People
but see,
would just be upset.
And I think that if that was a live action movie, I would not have been able to watch it as a child.
but you're very hypercritical too. You said that.
Yes. Okay. So they made a sequel to the Chicken Run movies, but they recast the two main chickens. I don't know if both voice actors passed away or if they just didn't want to come back. I don't know what the story was. I just know they voice casted them, and it was terrible. I don't like that. You can't do that. It just they're different chickens at that point. Tell another story. It's not the same. You can't fool me. I was there for the original chickens. I know what they sound like.
I was criticizing you for that position until I realized I'm exactly the same way because with Mystery Science Theater 3000, Kevin Murphy was my favorite Tom Servo, and I mean we actually met the voice actor that plays the new one. He's a good dude, but I'm sorry.
It's just not Tom.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's funny what a difference just
And
the
it's
right
okay.
voice makes.
Yeah, it's okay to be different, but don't try to tell me you're the same. 'Cause you're not.
You're not the same chicken.
Because it's like Zachary Levi now or something like that. And I was like, why are you in this? Go away.
So we need gotcha.
You're not even British.
You want to talk about somebody who's just been oversaturated.
Yeah. I don't even.
Like you turn around, Zach Levi's in something
I'm gonna be
else.
so real. I don't even like him that much. I liked him in Chuck.
Yeah.
He was really good in that.
I guess I just wonder about the appeal. It's funny how one thing could look really charming and fun to somebody else and horrifying to another.
Yeah, that's
I wonder
so fascinating
why
to me that scares you. That claymation scares you.
I don't like clay ever since I was a kid, and it might go back to the heat miser and the cold
Maybe.
miser from the.
Those are a
the
little
Rankin,
scary.
The Rankin Bass stuff. A lot of those things were creepy.
Those are a little creepy. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and they move in unnatural ways.
So we don't need to get Joe a Bumble for his yard next year.
Oh no, but he definitely needs an entire marching ensemble of California raisins.
Yeah,
he does.
Because at least they
truly
look like raisins.
You know what else about those the
are a
Rankin
little
Bass?
freaky,
It
too.
seems like the ones that they were trying to make cute were even scarier. Like the little Dennis kid.
You know what
and
I hear in my
everybody.
head?
What?
HR puffin stuff.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Alan and I grew up in the 70s, and so we.
I'm sorry, the banana splits, man.
They never scared me.
La, la.
Yeah.
Well,
They never scared
they
you.
do
That's
now.
so interesting.
Well, I mean,
that's
they're
right,
a horror
they're-
movie now.
Yeah. Well, so is Winnie the Pooh and Piglets.
So
you
true.
know.
Yeah, but you know what? I've seen Blood and Honey and Blood and Honey 2.
Oh, they made a second one?
Yeah, not nearly as creepy. I mean, they're still horror movies, but not
Yeah.
nearly as creepy as watching the Banana Splits as a horror movie. Or as my friend Christian would say, the Banana Splits as a regular movie.
Yeah.
It's just scary.
Or your lovely weekend at Willie's.
Oh.
That.
Well, that was Willy's Wonderland.
I like
Yeah,
that
that's
one.
Willy's Wonderland, and that movie could have been claymation or real and wouldn't have mattered.
Any movie that makes Nicolas Cage speechless.
I'm still trying to figure out if he won or lost that bet. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I am totally down with the fact that, lovely little Wallace and Gromit. But if you think about it just briefly, you get away with so much inside British humor.
Yes.
They are
They're so
making
funny.
fun of so much stuff that you really probably couldn't do with real people.
No, it's so true.
Because-
they have a lot of adult humor in those movies that are so funny and silly.
Wallace is just,
A goofy guy.
he's probably Joe.
I haven't seen. Wait, have you seen the new one or you?
I haven't seen the new one yet.
Okay.
It just came out on Netflix the first week of January.
Are you going to report back?
I
Because
will.
what if they change actors?
They did it. I watched.
they
I
didn't.
watched the trailer to be sure because
Yeah,
I didn't want to get excited and then be devastated again.
No, Wallace is definitely
Yep,
still
it's
Wallace.
still
The
Wallace.
penguin is still the penguin.
Yeah.
So yes,
Luckily,
we're
they
good.
really only have like one main voice actor. So
they do.
they
I
can't
got
change
a
it.
question about claymation. Have they changed the technique? Has it been modernized? Have
It's not
computers-
clay anymore. No.
Well, no, I'm
No,
just
they still
saying.
do clay. They're actually running out of the original clay from the original Wallace and Gromit movies.
But what I'm saying is it made the same? Stop. You move the thing a little part. You move it. You move
Yeah.
it.
Well, and the
Or
thing
have
is
they-
that you know the musculature within inside the claymation.
I was
figures
just about to get to that.
Is more posable than it used to be, and you can actually move it now without worrying about the clay itself falling off. You used to have to be really careful with it back in the old days.
I'm
Yeah,
reminded.
Gumby fell apart a lot.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of like the Corpse Bride, like the sophisticated skeletons they had for all the characters in that.
Yeah. There's a word articulated.
Why,
Yeah.
I mean, do you really think they meant for Mr. Bill to get smushed so many times. he fell over.
It just happened.
Yeah, it just happened.
I guess I can appreciate the craftsmanship and the the appreciating the history of claymation, and people are still keeping it going. That's cool.
Yeah.
It still freaks
I
me
like
out
the
though.
handmadeness of it, It's really intentional art. I think that's important that we keep that alive.
Again, back to practical effects.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, well, it'll be interesting to hear your field report on how it comes out.
Keep you updated.
Alan will probably even watch this, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, no, I am a massive Wallace and Gromit fan.
Okay. All right. Well, gosh, we've been all over the map, you guys, and it's. But hey, for all our friends out in California, please stay safe. We're all thinking of you, and we hopefully they'll get this thing under control soon. But you guys, the show's over. We got to get out of here. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Allan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
I'm Alissa Diggs.
And I'm Brandon Olmsted with absolutely nothing sarcastic to say after Joe's heartfelt wishes to California.